Hey guys, in this episode we're going to talk about the movie Peter Rabbit. We're going to talk about some similarities and some differences between the film and the book. This is episode 13 of the Reel-ists podcast. Hey guys, welcome to the Reel-ists podcast. I'm Donnie.
And I'm Oscar.
And we have our producer, Ruben.
Hello.
Rubenito.
That's this one?
That's this one. That's his nickname for this week. Rubenito. Does anybody call you that?
Rubencito.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but not Ruben.
All right. Well,
close. You're
I was
close.
close. I was one letter off.
Rubencito, Rubenito.
Rubenito, Rubencito. Thank you for all you do, Ruben.
Everyone that's listening, share us what nicknames Ruben can come up with.
Go on Twitter and vote.
Top 10 will win a prize.
So this week, Oscar, we saw Peter Rabbit.
We did.
Peter
We sure
Rabbit.
did.
you read the book as a kid?
Nope. To be honest, I only knew about the character with my goddaughter because she got a plush toy of Peter Rabbit sent by my aunt, and at first I was like, "Is this a Bugs Bunny ripoff?" And they're like, "That's Peter Rabbit," and I was like, "Oops."
Damn.
That's how I found out about Peter Rabbit. So that was about a year ago.
That was the first time you've ever heard of him?
First time.
Wow.
So then,
okay.
Yeah, then I realized, I was like, okay, I see he's a child.
I appreciate your honesty.
Did you? Did you read it?
No. No, I actually did.
Okay. Name 5 of the book.
Well, okay, so apparently, because there's the book, like, The Tale of Peter Rabbit.
Right.
And then I guess there's, like, some other books, like, that have come out, too. Like, there's been, like, a couple, like, stories involving Peter Rabbit and his sisters. I thought, am I crazy?
Like newer editions, you mean? Like
yeah, like adventures, like on this tale, like Peter and his sisters, blah 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 blah.
I'm sure, like like Golden.
But I didn't read any of that. I only
sure,
read like the original Peter Rabbit
with the classic design of like it's like an actual bunny with just like
with the blue blue jacket. And,
but like it looks like a real bunny, not a cartoon.
Oh
bunny.
no, it does. It's not like a It looks like a real little bunny.
Yeah.
Or a rabbit. Hence the name Peter Rabbit. Oh my gosh.
Are we doing a spoiler alert for this movie?
Yes. We are. This is our spoiler alert. Oh my God! Don't spoil it. That's what it's gonna. That's our spoiler alert. So whenever you hear that, oh my God! Don't spoil it. That means we're gonna spoil it. So I will read quickly a little synopsis of the film. Peter Rabbit and his 3 sisters, Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail, enjoy spending their days in Mr. McGregor's vegetable garden. When one of McGregor's relatives suddenly moves in, he's less than thrilled to discover a family of rabbits in his new home. A battle of wills soon breaks out as the new owner hatches scheme after scheme to get rid of Peter, a resourceful rabbit who proves to be a worthy and wily opponent. Oscar, what did you think of the film? Initial thoughts.
Well, my initial
because
thoughts,
I loved it. Let me tell you why.
I enjoyed it. I really did enjoy it. I sat down, not expecting much. I thought this was going to be one of those where it's just like, it's going to go over my head. I don't care for the jokes, but I laughed, or we laughed.
Yeah.
With the kids.
I know.
Like when the kids were laughing.
Sometimes we were laughing louder than the kids.
We were. But, I really had a great time. I got interested in Peter Rabbit as a character. Like, I would want an animated show or something to appear out of this to continue watching his stories. But it was definitely something that caught me off. I really thought I was just going to see, a kid movie. Kind of, not to say that it's bad, but like Paddington. Paddington is really more of like, it's a family movie, but its goal is to really kind of like inspire the young kids to do the right thing, to be good in life, to respect your elders and all that. It has that more approach. As to Peter Rabbit does not take that approach. It's more of just a family fun film with Peter trying to, own the garden of, their enemy, I guess, in that sense. And it's just like an all out battle, and it's hilarious. I really enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. What about you?
I really wasn't, I was open to seeing the film. It wasn't like I was like dreading it by any means. I didn't think I would like it as much as I did, but a couple minutes in, I realized like I was entertained. It was funny. It, like you said, we were, laughing alongside with the kids. I think adults will enjoy it. Like, it's not like, there are some kid movies that you're just like, okay, this is entertaining or funny to like a 7-year-old, but I don't really want to watch this. Yeah. But I feel like this film wasn't like that. Like, it was funny, entertaining.
It definitely has its moments where you're just like, what's going to happen? How is this going to play out? Like, you're hooked on the plot. Like, it's a very simple plot, but you're hooked.
So the Mr. McGregor, the guy who owned the garden, the home and the garden.
Yes.
He was always trying to keep Peter and his sisters out of the garden.
All the animals.
Animals. And basically he died. He had a heart attack.
Very quickly.
Like a couple minutes in the film. And then his nephew basically inherited the home.
Yep.
So his nephew comes along.
Yep.
And he's kind of just as hating of like animals and creatures as his uncle was.
Thomas McGregor. Just like his old. It's like his uncle, right?
His uncle, I believe, right? Like uncle, like nephew.
That's the new.
He just wanted to keep all the critters out. And then you had a difference that from the movie as opposed to the story, because in the story they lived like with their mom,
right?
And in this film, the mom passed away. Well, both the parents passed away.
Yeah, that's right. And we do have to clarify, we were late to this one, like 5 minutes late to this. We missed like the little beginning.
Yeah, we missed a couple the first couple minutes of the film, but it turns out that both of the parents,
which is what they covered. It's just that the dad, from my understanding of reading online, the dad tried to make a move to win the garden and got caught.
Yeah, and he got put in a pie.
That was in the movie? They said that?
Well, it was in the book, and they had referenced it in the movie. They had said something like, "You don't get put in a pie."
Oh my God!
Because that was in the book, and I remember reading that part in the book. I was like, dang, like people eat bunnies. Like as a little kid, people eat bunnies. But yeah, so that was crazy. But anyways, yes. So both the parents. So, and I think another okay. So I'm kind of talking about some differences from the film and the story. So in the story, because it seemed like they all were with their mom, and I think they were all like really younger, like they were young bunnies, because in the story, like Peter was being chased by Mr. McGregor, and he got home and his mom like gave him some medicine and put him to bed, and like fed his sisters like bread and blackberries and something like that. So it seemed like in the story, I remember they were like a lot younger, whereas in this movie, it seems like they were like
young adults.
Yeah. I mean, obviously they were voiced by adults, but like, but they weren't like, there wasn't anything super like, it's not like they were like little 5-year-old bunnies, like
innocently.
I keep saying bunnies, but they're rabbits. What's the difference? Do we know?
One is a rabbit and the other one is a bunny.
Okay, there we go.
There you go. One is spelled Bunny. The other one's Rabbit.
I was like, please spell it right.
What's the difference between?
Yeah. Okay, producer's on it. He's gonna tell us. But so that was one of the differences. And once again, in the story, they had their mom, but in this movie, both of the parents passed away. So they have Rose Bryn. I forget her character's name in the story.
B-E-A. B-E-A.
Is it B?
B-E-A. Or is it B? We've seen the movie.
It's either Bay or B. I think it's B.
They don't say her name that often.
They really don't. But you can kind of tell, like, she's kind of filling that kind of motherly role. I mean, she kind of, like, looks after them, and she paints portraits of them, and she loves them. And as the McGregor nephew comes to inherit the land, she kind of tells him, like, oh, make sure you keep your gate open so the bunnies can go in. And this is their land before it was our land. So you can tell she's super all about the rabbits.
Nature,
and I love her. She was great
performance.
Yeah, she was really good.
All the actors on screen and the voice actors, I think they did a solid job. They did what they were supposed to do, which is inject life into this. The voice actors at least had to inject life. The actors had to carry the realness to the movie. Like, without them, you probably would start being like, all right, at what point, does it become like unrealistic too much? Like, we have already accepted that the rabbits wear clothes, talk for most of it in that sense with each other, and do things that rabbits don't normally do, like hopping onto cars and stuff like that.
Right.
So we already had that suspense of belief. We're already accepting that that's that's what they're gonna do. Without the humans, though, you probably would be getting a little not bothered by it. I wouldn't say, but you definitely would start to feel that like, all right,
It'd be like, come on,
yeah, there's too much going on here.
Yeah.
So they did.
It kept a level of like, I guess, realness, I guess, to the film. Even though, I mean, it's a kids movie, and so that's fine.
But at least Thomas McGregor, his like he definitely filled that cliche villain role, but with that comedy twist.
Right.
Like, if you think of a lot of movies for kids, a lot of the villains are normally comical. Mm-hmm. Like, they normally have...
They're not so villainous that it's like, upsetting to watch or anything like that.
And I feel like, the actor did a great job. Tom Hall Gleason. I'm hoping I pronounced his name right. It's like Tom H-N-A-L-L. Sounds like Tom Hall.
N-H-A-L-L?
Yeah.
Oh.
So, I mean... But his character, Thomas McGregor, he definitely delivered on the punchlines on like those action slapstick comedy.
Yeah.
Like the bed scene when he had like the bunny, the rabbits just got him. That was one of those that just like...
Yeah, that's just like slapstick humor, and it's like, it's entertaining for kids to watch. It's fun.
That's exactly the jokes that, yes, the parents would... If it was all about that, then the parents would be like, all right, this is not...
Yeah. So luckily, I mean, that's a good point, because I feel like it had a good amount of like... that slapstick humor and those like kind of obvious jokes that like kids would get and think was really funny, but it also had like a little more mature humor like kind of peppered throughout. There were like a couple little jokes that
Peter's dialogue was definitely more for like adult comedy kind of thing. The slapstick comedy was definitely for the kids,
right?
But there was a little combination of both. I loved the pig.
Yeah.
Just one more.
They had, there were some really funny characters. I loved the rooster too.
Oh my god!
Like this again. Like when the sun comes up, and he's
he had kids. And he went through a whole life cycle.
He was just going through it day in and day out.
The first time was funny because you really were just like, "Is this what
roosters really are saying when they're like,
I close my eyes."
Yeah. Yeah, it was funny. I like I said, I mean, it had some like I went in thinking, okay, this is going to be a kids movie and kids will like this. I don't know how I'll feel about it, but I came out really really entertained. I was in a good mood. Like I would watch it again. It was great.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely would want to see that again.
I like too that it took like, so B, the rabbit loving kind of motherly role, when what's the nephew's name?
Just say Rosebine.
I know Rosebine. Just say Rosebine. What's Thomas, right?
Thomas McGregor.
McGregor. When Thomas moves, and then they start to form this kind of like relationship and start, they like each other obviously, but he hates these rabbits, and so he's trying not to like let her know that he hates these rabbits and he hates creatures, because she's all about loving them and helping them. So I like the scene when they were like fighting each other, Peter and Thomas, when they were in her garden,
yeah.
And she would like
in the garden room kind of, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, that was sorry, I kind of jumped ahead to like our favorite scene.
You totally did,
because I really liked that scene. Like that's probably like one of the scenes I think about when I think of the movie, because they were like, and it's all it's a lot of like that slapstick humor too, and they're like punching each other, and like she peeks in, and she's like, hey, and then they're pretending that they love each other, and then and then once she leaves, they're back to fighting and throwing each other against the walls. But I thought it was really funny.
And Peter loses.
Did Peter lose?
Well, yeah, because he accidentally
because he
got caught like messing up the painting.
It looked like he had messed up the painting. Oh, well, I mean, I guess he kind of did.
It wasn't intentional.
It wasn't his fault. I mean, but
right.
B kind of blamed him,
because that's what she saw. Like, she just like walked into that moment.
It made me sad.
My favorite scene. Now that I guess we're just hopping in a favorite scene.
Sorry, I didn't plan to bring that up so soon. I just was like,
unexpected.
Yeah, gotta switch it up. Gotta be fresh every time.
What if everyone was like, I love their favorite scene and segment before they give the score? My favorite scene, I think, I really liked a lot of the Benjamin Peter like talks, like all the times where he's like, I just follow you, and I make sure you stay alive kind of thing, kind of that love that they have for each other, even though he's not a direct.
I like
brother,
how
he's a
Peter
cousin.
kept bringing that up too. Was like, you're not really, you're just a cousin. You're not really one of us. So, like, it's kind of mean, but it was like the way he was saying it was kind of funny.
So
like,
I do have a lot of those scenes that really got me. Like I was like, I was like, yes, like just stick through the people you love, whatever they're doing. I mean, obviously, as long as they're not doing something that's harming others or getting others in danger. But because Peter would always go to these adventures by himself, like he wasn't. Like, his sisters were not being dragged. They wanted to be a part of it. So there was a difference.
right.
He wasn't necessarily saying, we all need to do this dangerous task. He's like, I'll do this. And then Benjamin would just tag along because, that's what he does.
Right.
I think my favorite scene, though, is very early in the film, is when Benjamin is captured
Oh, okay.
by Thomas.
Yeah.
Because for a second, I was like, are they really going to go this route, like dark route, and get it? So this is the part where I'm just like, okay, this has got my attention. Because I wouldn't think a kid movie is going to have, something at stake so early. Because I could totally see that this was like close to the end, and then they rescue him, and then they, they beat Thomas or something. I could totally see if they went that cliche route. But this was rather early in the film, and I don't know the character. So I didn't even know if maybe in the books, Benjamin is not really a character, so that's why they were going to write him off or something. But so that's when it really got me hooked into this movie. And then all the jokes following that definitely just kept it going. But that was probably my favorite scene because I was really just interested in what they were going to do. And you kind of got a hint of Thomas. He's not really a bad guy. He's not necessarily, getting a gun and shooting the animals point blank. I mean, this one, he just got irritated because they were in his
garden.
Yeah, so he...
and they're messing with him.
Right.
And
So he was just like, all right, I need to just take you away from my garden. I mean, they didn't say what he was going to do, right? Was he going to drop him off? Yeah, he was going to drop him in the river,
yeah,
I believe.
Yeah.
Before they
rescued him.
Peter and his sisters rescued him. So that was my favorite scene because that's where I got interested in it. Like, at first there was a lot of the comedy jokes, like when the animals had the house to themselves. Mm-hmm. And I felt like if it was going to just continue being that, I probably would have lost interest. But then I started to see that they are trying to develop these characters. It's not just, one-dimensional. Peter is not just, like, a hero. But at the same time, the sisters aren't just, like, cheerleaders or anything like that. Like, they all had something to bring.
I really liked that I feel like they sent a good message about, like, just kind of being, like, they were all there for each other. Like, whatever the adventure was, they all were going to do it together. They all had each other's backs. Like, if one person was in trouble, they were all going to come together to get them out of trouble. So I really liked that aspect of the film. And I felt like that had such a great message, just like, and it doesn't have to just relate to, like, direct, like, blood-linked family members, but just, like, whatever your family is, whatever that looks like. Yeah. Just to, like, be there for one another, lend a hand, help, or, just do whatever to, like, make sure you got their back and they got your back. So I was, like, super into that message.
And how, I don't know if it's a true fact on bunnies or rabbits. There we go. Back to that. Speaking of which,
oh yeah, Ruben, what'd you find out?
That was not intentional, by the way. I really had something to say.
I couldn't really figure it out.
So there is no difference.
One said that the rabbits are mammals and bunnies are baby rabbits, but then some say they're completely different. So I don't know.
Okay.
So the forms. Is it like the way there's different cats? I don't know. Different dogs.
Apparently hares.
Oh yeah,
I forgot.
I even forgot about hares.
The whole suggestion is, what's the difference between a bunny rabbit and a hare?
A bunny rabbit. And, okay, got it.
Okay,
kind of like cheetah, jaguar, leopard. Kind of like that.
Yeah, Friday breakfast.
Like they're all the same, but they're all slightly different. Answer. Okay, so bunny, rabbit. So whatever we want to say for the remainder of the podcast.
Rabbit
or hare. We could say a hare.
But no, like the way they, this is what I was saying. I don't know if it's a true fact of what rabbits do, but like when they apologize to each other and they kind of do like not a headbutt, but
they nestle their foreheads against each other's or rub foreheads together.
Why can't we do that? I mean, I know like there's a lot of height differences.
Somebody tried to do that to me. I was like, get away from me. What are you doing?
I mean, I guess it only works for
animals.
For animals.
No, that
small
is
animals.
I do wonder if was that like completely made up or is that true?
I don't know.
Oh, we can look it up.
Ruben? Next fact
Producer?
check.
No.
How do bunnies apologize to each other?
No, I do like that too. I like the scene too when she was trying to tell Thomas how great these creatures are, and she's like, they're so remorseful. When they apologize, they rub their foreheads together, and she was doing it to him. And then when the rabbits all saw that, they were like, why is she apologizing to him?
Yeah.
I was like,
oh man,
I thought that was so funny.
There was a lot of little things like that just were. It was innocent. There was like an innocence to the humor. It wasn't necessarily like, I guess because we're believing that this is the perspective of the rabbits. I feel like that's where a lot of the jokes went well. Like I don't think I don't think little boys can. Well, maybe like I was thinking little kids, but if it was like kids that were the main characters and not rabbits, I don't know if maybe the jokes would have landed.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely like that. And Peter grew up in this movie. He definitely went from a little bit of, of a crazy rabbit to kind of like understanding his role with everyone around. He owned up to his mistake of setting the bomb.
Like it seemed like he realized, he realized that his actions don't only affect him, but everyone around him.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that was like a very like maturing kind of realization for him. Like, oh, like, yeah, I can keep going and getting into these adventures and all this mischief, but like, it doesn't just affect me. Like, it doesn't just put me in these situations. It puts all like my sisters and my cousin in the situation. And
yep. So definitely, yeah. I mean, it was definitely not what I was expecting, and I think both of us are like on that page. I think we both kind of were just like, we're seeing this movie to be, different. The competition not necessarily was there. It's not like we had something else we really wanted to see or anything like that. Yeah, I think that's one of those.
I also really liked the scene like towards the end when basically Thomas and Bea broke up and he went back to his old job, and Peter basically went to London to go tell him like, look, like don't just leave, like she loves you, blah blah blah, and kind of like owned up to his mistakes. Right. That was really cool. And that's the first time I think that he actually spoke to Thomas.
And then Thomas was like,
was like, I knew you could talk, like, kind of.
But I think Peter said something along the lines of like, only if you want me to talk, kind of like, it was like one of those, it's like partly Thomas is like,
oh, he had said something like, maybe it's kind of like it's me in your head or something.
Right. It's like something like that. And I was like, oh, that's a nice little way to kind of explain Peter actually talking to Thomas in this situation. Yeah, that was like only time there was there was
actual communication with the rabbits and the people.
After that they never talked again.
Yeah,
with the humans. But
yeah, because I thought when they finally at the very end when they all came back and they were like trying to stop Bea from leaving, and he was like, please don't leave, blah blah blah, and she was looking down at Peter. I thought Peter was gonna like talk, like say something to her, like. Yeah. It was my fault, I'm sorry, or something, but they didn't. So I was like, okay, so do they just not know that they can talk? Or that was like my only little critique. I was like, I wanted more. Okay, so here I do have one. I do have the only thing that kind of, it didn't disappoint me at all or anything. I wish what would have been done differently was I felt like the ending was just really abrupt. Like
it was a happily ever after-ish ending. They fell back in love. They were going to rebuild the house.
I mean, but it wasn't like they literally they stopped the new people from moving into Thomas's house.
Right.
And then all the animals were there, and then they were like, okay, we did it. And then that was kind of it.
That's true.
So I was like, I just wasn't expecting the ending to come right there. Like I thought there was going to be like a little, a little 5-minute medley of like them and like showing them get married and showing them have a baby. I don't know, like just that kind of.
Let them have a sequel. Dang, you don't want.
I needed
Peter
some
Rabbit
closure.
2. You don't want Peter Rabbit 2.
I do, but
the thing is, actually, now that I think about it, the main plot was the war of the garden.
Yes.
So that was resolved and way before the movie was ending. So they had to kind of end it with some way. And given the movie the way it did, I don't want to say ridiculous stuff, but it did unexpected stuff like that. I'm not surprised that they went that route with they got to keep the house, everyone wins, that kind of happy ending. So I mean, I enjoyed the ending. Granted, it did feel that kind of like abrupt. It was just like, all right.
I mean, I just wanted a little more. I'm gonna sound like you now. I just wanted a little more. I just wanted a little more.
Want to reverse? Finally.
I know. If you were happy with it and I wanted a little more.
You wanted more, yeah. Because I thought they concluded what they were trying to tell the story of, you know? It's like one of those, like, I just finished my day. Like, I'm telling you my day, and my day just ends. It's not like you can be like, what happens next? And be like, I don't know. I haven't lived tomorrow. So,
thinking back, I remember, so the book, just going back to the book, like after Peter had ran from the McGregor house and went home, and his mom gave him medicine, and and then the mom fed the sisters, and then like that's how that book ended too. Like kind of like I thought there was going to be a little more after, but like that was it. Like it ended. Like the mother gave Peter some medicine and sent him to bed and fed the sisters blackberries and bread. And that was it. So maybe this whole story is just like big on abrupt endings or something. Or maybe I'm like have too high of expectations. Like I need like a lot of like fill in the blanks. Like tell me what happens over the next like 5 years, but do it in like 5, 6 to 7 minutes. You know, I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I don't like just like I don't want to keep calling it an abrupt ending because to you it wasn't abrupt, but
I could see what you're saying in that sense. Like it was like conclusion, like we knew right after.
Don't just cut me off, like kind of wean me off, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Slowly. It was just it went from they stopped fighting. The war stopped, I guess, in that sense. Thomas was I don't want to say banned, but he went back because she didn't want him anymore, so he had no purpose being there. He was going to sell the house. Then Peter goes gets him, and we know like. If he returns with Peter, this movie is not going to be where she's going to be like, yeah, no, we're done. Like, it was going to be that kind of ending. So they just had to wrap it up in one of those, like, all right, so we know what's, you know, the audience should know what's happening by this point.
Right.
How do we officially just put a nice bow to it kind of thing? But, I mean, it does leave it up for another story, so that's awesome.
Yeah. I would definitely see it. Like, I'd be excited for a sequel. Yeah. I could see them doing a sequel. Like they did, like you said, they left it pretty open-ended to like they could easily do another film if they want to.
I mean it's doing well, which is great. It's doing a little bit over projection.
At the box office.
Yeah. I mean what Sony had estimated for the film, it's doing a little bit better.
It's not doing good in the media. If you've been paying attention, they're going through a little controversy right now.
What controversy? I've never heard of this. No, nonsense.
Get out, dude. So
it's a perfect film. Just kidding.
So apparently, well,
not apparently,
it's actually happened. There's been a lot of backlash that they've received because there was a scene in which the rabbits attempted to fling a blackberry into Thomas's mouth, and he is severely allergic to blackberries. So there's been a lot of, I guess, groups that are like, you know, saying they're kind of promoting allergy bullying is what I read in one article, and how they weren't being sensitive to that because people with severe food allergies, that is very life or death and is very serious. So I don't know, what do you think about that?
I mean, that one's tough because it can give the wrong message. Mm-hmm. Because to a kid, they can think, oh, they're allergic to them, I can give it to this so that way I don't have to do homework or something like that. Like they may not think of the consequences as what actually can happen. You know, clearly Thomas was prepared for it, so he injected himself and he was fine.
He had his EpiPen ready.
Right. So I definitely see how that can be a wrong message. The joke itself wasn't necessarily the bad part of it in my sense. I just feel like the rabbits doing it without knowing the actual risk. This is like Peter's, you know, being naive, not really knowing the consequences of what he thinks is the right thing to do, kind of stuff. I mean, it's definitely I feel like it was done incorrectly. I'm not saying that you can make, like, I feel like it could have been done if they really wanted to go that route, which I feel like they don't need to, but if they really wanted to do a joke in that manner where they kind of hurt like Thomas, there could have been different choices. Mm-hmm. So I could see what they were going for, what the film was trying to inject. It was trying to inject a humorous moment where you kind of see Thomas freak out. Kind of, it was like one of the things with, like, you know, Peter and you know, his sisters and Benjamin got Thomas to react scared or like, fearful kind of thing. I could see what that decision was for the film.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not a joke with, you don't intentionally want to get someone, experience their severe allergy. If they're allergic, that's bad, that's not that. So it was badly executed. I definitely understand if had it not been in the movie, there's plenty of other jokes, it would have been fine. That joke.
I mean, yeah, it wasn't vital to the story. Like if you had taken that scene out or taken that joke out or whatever,
right.
or put something else in place, the film would have been just as, funny and entertaining. At first, when I first saw, I think I was at work and I saw it on the news, is what they were saying. And my first initial thought was like, give me a break, dude. It's a freaking kids movie. Like, it's not that big of a deal. After I read more, like I saw the articles kept coming out and I read a few of them and I really thought about it. And I definitely understand why people were so upset. Mm-hmm. It's nothing to joke about because I mean that is very serious, especially for someone with it. Like if it's severe to the where they need an EpiPen, like anaphylactic shock, that can kill you. So I felt bad for thinking like, oh, give me a break, blah blah blah. Like, so I'm reneging on what I said. I
at first because it is
yeah.
Because
it's not like because I mean it's not like I mean. When they flung the blackberry in his mouth, and they could have made it more gruesome and more like, oh, well, his throat's swelling or something, But it was quick. Like luckily for the character, he had his EpiPen ready and he shot himself and that was that.
It was just like the bad reaction started immediately as it went in his mouth. He freaked out and then he injected himself. So it was quick.
Yeah,
so,
but had he not had the pen,
right,
he would have been.
Had they continued that, and then that they made it like where he had to get the ambulance come, and that was that I can see where that may have been a reason for the criticism, but it was quick, so I don't think.
And two, in defense of the rabbits, like I said, they could have not put this in. I get it, I get that now, but in defense of the rabbits. Like they were just trying to like survive. Like Thomas was coming after them and trying to like kill them. So they were doing anything they could necessary to try to like survive.
And that's what I like. So that's what I'm saying.
It's like I see that too.
Of the rabbits.
Yeah, like they just don't know. Like they don't. I'm sure they don't know. I mean, they knew he was allergic, but like, do they really know what that could mean? Like I don't know.
Right? No, it
wasn't implied that they really fully understood that. Like if we fling a blackberry into his mouth, he will die.
But I'm sure. Peter would have learned that would have been like I'm sure Peter would be like, yeah, that was a bad choice, we shouldn't have done that.
Yeah,
should have just thrown rocks at his face or something like that.
I
understand.
Yeah, sensitive topic. Sony actually issued an apology saying that they should have been more sensitive to it, which I mean that's what I think a lot of the people that were speaking out about it, they were saying they wanted a public apology. So they got it, and I think that was good, and I think Sony should have.
Good. That's good. I mean, yes, it's really tough because, when you want to get a joke in your movie, you can sometimes borderline actual like danger.
Yeah.
Especially in a kids movie.
Yeah.
So it's
and like you said, this being a kids movie, because a kid might think like that could be something funny.
And I want to see my brother do that.
My brother's allergic to blueberries. Yeah. Let me throw a blueberry in his mouth, and so it could be potentially dangerous.
Yeah, but it was quick that I don't feel like its criticism should harm the movie. Like I feel like if you're someone.
Yeah, there's like people that are like #boycott Peter Rabbit.
Yeah,
like
I don't feel like you should boycott the movie.
I don't. Yeah,
you definitely. I mean, you have your right to not see it. I'm not saying that, but I feel like you should not discourage other people to see it for a very quick moment.
I mean,
it's equivalent to like a naked scene in like in a PG-13 movie or an R-rated movie. Like like it's like one of those like it's a quick scene. Yes, it may not be something you want someone you see like in particular. But it's quick. It's kind of like go to the bathroom and at that little time where you see that they're fighting and they're throwing fruits at it.
Well, I feel like there was an even more offensive joke in that movie. There were not offensive, but like there was they were at a grocery store, so I don't know what they were somewhere, and they had a carrot, and they were basically implying that they were gonna like put this carrot up this guy's butt. Do you remember that scene?
Oh, yes.
It was like in the second half of the film.
Is this when he was in town?
Yeah, when they were in town. Yeah, and like I remember like watching that, and I was like, "Ooh, that's a little like."
Wasn't the other one too with the like that you mentioned that the brown on brown was?
Oh yeah. Oh, I didn't say that, but yeah, they kept saying like, oh, brown on brown because but the cousin, right?
Yeah.
The cousin,
His
the
outfit.
cousin rabbit had a brown jacket and he had brown fur, so they were like
brown on
brown,
yeah.
like in a bad way. So I was like, even that could have been taken, out of context and in a bad way.
Yeah.
So I feel like there was, I mean, once again, that, food allergies is not anything to like joke about. And I feel like, they were kind of treading thin.
Yes.
Thin
I mean,
water,
I would all be for Sony cutting it out for like the digital release, for the Blu-ray release, cutting that scene out because it doesn't make any impact at all. But I don't think you should not see this movie
just because of that scene.
Small scene. Yeah, I definitely want you to see it and enjoy it for the other parts, for the other full length of the movie that's still there.
Right.
But I mean, I respect why you wouldn't want to see it. I mean, I can see if it was something that I can relate to. I'm not allergic to anything, so I don't have that, mind of how that feels.
Yeah.
So I can definitely see if it's something that maybe, I can relate to. I can see why I wouldn't see the film myself. But it's definitely one of those sensitive ones where I can respect if you don't want to see it because of that kind of joke. But I definitely don't think it should be stopped from everyone seeing this movie.
Right. Agreed. We're on the same page. I agree with you. I agree with Oscar Rivera.
I need you to state your full name and that you agree.
Mark the date, the time. We have Ruben as a witness. Okay, so then with all that, I think that brings us to our real score time. So...
Oh, our real score time.
Sorry,
I was like, wait, no, I don't have a time of this score.
No. It's time for our real score is what I should have said. So, we are trying to guess each other's real score.
Yes, we have run it down.
We wrote them down.
Last week's episodes.
Yes, we wrote it down on paper and we handed them to Ruben.
Since this is your coverage of the movie, I'll let you just pick first. What did you think I got? You've been right so far, so I'm not surprised.
I think
yours was the folded one, right?
Mine was the folded one. Yes. All right. I think Oscar. I mean, because I know you liked the film.
Had a lot of. I mean, we didn't share much, but it did have a lot of its con.
Yeah.
There was, there was, the plot was predictable.
Yeah.
In that sense.
I just keep thinking like it's a children's story, so I it's not like my expectations were so high and like, oh, this better be such a deep, thought-provoking, complex film with like, no, I wasn't expecting, any
like
really any of that. You knew where it was going to go.
Plot. It was predictable in the sense
you knew how it was going to end.
You knew that there was going to be some resolution where it's not in relation to death. It's not in relation to, a tragic ending. It's going to be a positive note. Or it's going to leave on a positive note. So that predictableness, yes, was there.
Right.
So yeah, I'll continue, but you say the score.
Okay. I think you're going to give it 3 out of 5 reels.
Ruben, what was it?
Yeah, it was 3.5.
3.5.
It was between 3 and 3.5.
3.5.
I was gonna say 3.5, but then you were like, well, it did have a lot of cons, so then that made me think, okay, so maybe he's giving it a lower score. You shouldn't even have said anything. I shouldn't even have asked. I should have just said the score.
No. I mean, I brought up the con because I realized we did talk a lot of the film, but the score wouldn't match our positive notes of the film, because at this point, the way we're talking about it, it sounds more like a 4.5.
Yeah.
But yeah, the cons of that.
Okay.
Unfortunately, the sisters don't get as much development.
Mopsy, and Cottontail.
Yeah.
I love those names.
Did you do it with the accent?
Yeah. Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail.
They didn't really get much development. I didn't even know one of them was like a fighter. Like she was like hardcore and she loves to like get in those like fight kind of.
Yeah, didn't she like? What didn't she? She was gonna come at him with like a knife or like something like
they were
and they were like minimal. whoa it's like calm down basically.
Like I kind of kept forgetting that was her character.
Yeah.
I did love, and because we're talking about the sister, I did love the whole who's older.
Yeah. And it was by like seconds, like, and when one of them thought she was dying, she was like you're really the oldest one.
So like. Unfortunately, they did. I mean, they had a lot of funny moments, but they didn't get any development. a lot of things that you still like, okay, really? Like a bunny's really going to be able to chase a train and hop on it?
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of things that
aren't like it wouldn't happen.
Exactly. And we are the Realist podcast.
Right. So we're going to keep it real.
We're going to keep it real. Exactly. If it ain't real, it ain't going to be considered.
Yeah.
So, so those little things like that. Very small.
Okay.
Overall, it's still entertaining. You still have a lot of great moments with the film.
Great.
A lot of, I don't want to say that there was too much humor, but there was a lot of humor, like a lot of jokes that didn't land for me. Mm-hmm. But again, it could land for kids.
Yeah.
But because it didn't land for me, I have to consider.
There was more of them. There was more that did land for me than I thought there was going to be.
Exactly.
So I was like,
that's why my score was that.
Yeah.
My time for your score.
Okay. Yeah. Guess mine. Okay, it's my time. Guess mine.
That one's tough because I'm trying to think. You know that this is a kid's film, so you're not giving it like, that kind of critique.
You don't know me.
I'm going to go with the same as mine, then 3.5.
Ruben?
That is correct.
That is correct.
Yes.
3.5. Yes.
All right.
So for those same reasons you said, it was a kid's film, so I had, I lowered some of my expectations a little bit, just in terms of like what I normally am ready to see in a film, because I mostly like dramatic kind of indie films and with really strong performances and that deep subject matter. So I was like, okay, this isn't that kind of movie. But I was entertained. I was laughing a lot. I was really interested in all the characters, in Thomas and Bee and all the rabbits, Peter and his sisters and his cousin. And I wanted, like you said, it was kind of, it was predictable and you kind of knew where it was going to go. Not only because of that, I mean, I kind of had a little context too, because I know I read the book, the first story at least, but yeah, it was just a good, wholesome, like family friendly film. I really feel like I would love to like just sit down with like all my nieces and nephews and like watch this film.
Not reading the books.
Not reading the books. I don't know. I don't know if they're...
I mean, this is just in the same way comic book movies don't necessarily inspire you to go read the comic books.
Yeah.
You have an appreciation for the source material. Mm-hmm. I mean, now, yes, if someone was like, "What kind of book should I get for my kid?" I'd be like, get a Peter Rabbit book. Now, now it's going to be in my thought process of like choosing books for kids.
Yeah.
So
and now that I think there's like different books about Peter Rabbit, like adventure books, like Ruben was saying. So I'm kind of like interested to like find those.
Oh, you're gonna pick
just
up,
to see.
You're gonna pick them up.
Go check them out from the library.
You're gonna have a stack of them.
They're gonna be like, "Oh, are these for like your son?" I'd be like, "No, they're for me."
I mean, we went to go see it without any kids or anything.
True.
Which was hilarious because, to kind of explain, we went late, so
yeah,
there was that factor, and there was no seats next to each other when we went. So
sure wasn't. I forgot about that.
We got two separate seats. I was on one
like
row
two
and you were
rows.
behind it. Yeah, and the lady, I guess she saw us walking together.
Yeah,
so when I sat down and. I think you had something about.
I'd whispered something to you. Yeah,
I
whispered. I mean, not like that. I was like
the popcorn. It was popcorn. Yeah, she knew because it was like her kid. I don't know, maybe daughter or niece, but the kid she was with was not going to sit there. She was just going to be in their area because there was like a few seats between. Mm-hmm. So then she was like, "Yeah, it's all yours," and I was like, "Oh," I was like, "Okay." And I think I thought about it actually. I think I said it out loud. I was like, "Donnie," like out loud.
Hey, Donnie, over here!
Hey, I got to see you right here.
Like I'm right behind you.
But you came.
Yeah.
So that was awesome. That
was cool. Yeah. I was happy we got to sit together. It made the film experience even that much more fun.
For a kids movie.
I know, for a kids movie. Awesome. Well, that was our episode of Peter Rabbit. So listeners, if you guys have not seen the film, well, we spoiled it for you.
Go see it.
You probably know. Oh yeah, go see it anyways, and come back and let us know what you thought. Remember, you can check us out on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook at Team Reel-ists, Team REELISTS, no dash. Let us know your thoughts, anything we missed or didn't cover on this episode,
or a controversy topic. If you have,
any thoughts on the whole, food bullying, allergy bullying, as they called it.
Yeah.
In the media. Let us know your thoughts on it. If you agree, if you disagree, if you think they were in the wrong, or you just don't really think it was that big of a deal, we would love to know just what you guys think.
Yes.
I think I'm gonna ask, because one of my coworkers, she said that she went with her kid to see the film.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't, for some reason, I didn't bring up the whole.
You gonna make her?
Yeah, I'm gonna ask her. Be like, so did you hear, about the food allergy thing? Were you offended?
And be like, don't respond, but tweet us.
But go on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter, Team Reel-ists. Seriously.
All right.
Also, remember, you guys can listen to us on Stitcher, Spotify, SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play, YouTube, and our website, thereelistpodcast.libsyn.com.
That's it.
Hey,
13 episodes in.
Finally got it.
13 episodes.
Whew, man, I was practicing all day for that.
The Reel-ists.
The Reel-ists podcast. Libsyn. And what else? Also, just remember to tune in every Thursday. We're putting out new episodes every Thursday. And please, please, please share us with everyone you know, your family, your friends, your coworkers. We would surely appreciate it. Just tell them about the Reel-ists podcast. And
we love to talk about movies. We talk about it with each other here when we record the episodes, but we want to talk outside of just recording.
Yeah,
so.
please.
Yes, please. Please.
Please, por favor.
We're looking at everyone that's listening right now.
We would surely appreciate it, guys. Is there anything else?
I think that's it. I think we're good.
I think that's it. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we will see you soon.
Yep, thank you.